Right now, you're probably talking to girls the way most guys do. You chase. You wait on replies. You overthink what you send. You try to prove you're good enough for her. And you don't realize that every time you do that, you make yourself smaller in her eyes. You think effort will fix it. You think if you text more, call more, plan more, she'll finally see your value. But that's exactly what's killing her attraction and her respect. And that's what has to change. Because the moment you stop chasing, her world doesn't stay the same. The whole dynamic shifts, and you have no idea how much control you're giving away until you take it back. So stay with me here. Because once you understand this, you won't look at women, relationships, or yourself the same way again. Most men move through relationships on autopilot. They think being a good guy means endless effort. You text first almost every time. You're the one asking to meet. You're the one checking if everything is okay. You respond fast, even when she takes hours. You clear your schedule just in case she wants to see you. You keep doing it because you're scared to lose her. You're scared that if you stop pushing, everything stops. So you convince yourself this is what a real man does. He tries. He proves himself. And then you notice how you feel. You feel drained. You feel like nothing you do is enough. You feel like she's bored, distracted, or half present when you're actually together. You start to feel like you're chasing someone who's already halfway out the door. And instead of slowing down, you chase harder. That's the mistake. You're not a bad guy. You're not too nice in some stupid way. You're just putting her at the center of your world while you sit at the edge of hers. In modern dating, attention is everywhere for her. She posts a picture and gets reactions. She opens an app and there's a line of guys ready to talk. She's used to being the one who is wanted without doing much. So when you chase nonstop, you don't look special. You look like part of the background. You look like one more guy trying to impress her. And here's the part most men don't want to hear. The more you give without her earning any of it, the less it means to her. When your attention feels automatic and guaranteed, it stops feeling valuable. Women respect what they have to invest in. They respect what can be lost. They respect a man who clearly values his own time and energy. They do not respect a man who makes them his entire focus when he barely knows if she's actually showing up for him. Now, the interesting part starts when you pull back. Not fake pulling back just to get a reaction, but a real shift. You stop chasing. You stop checking your phone every 5 minutes. You stop building your day around her replies. You don't send a long message asking what went wrong. You don't complain. You simply stop pouring all your energy into someone who isn't matching it. At first, nothing looks different. She might not notice. She's used to you always being there, always reaching out, always keeping the connection alive. You feel weird. You feel the urge to text. You feel that itch to reach out one last time. But if you hold your line, something starts to happen. She feels the change before she fully understands it. It starts small. She notices she hasn't heard from you at the usual time. She checks her phone more than once. She scrolls back through your old messages. She remembers that you used to ask about her day, her plans, her feelings. Now you don't. That's not just your absence. That's the loss of control she had over your attention. She was used to you reacting to everything she did. If she took hours to answer, you were still there. If she gave short, lazy replies, you still showed interest. If she canceled plans, you tried again later. Now the pattern is broken. You're not reacting. You're not chasing. You're not feeding the dynamic she got comfortable in. That's where confusion comes in for her. She starts wondering why you stopped trying so hard. She starts thinking about what changed on your side instead of constantly judging what's wrong with you. After confusion, curiosity kicks in. She asks herself questions. Did she push you too far? Did she act like you didn't matter? Did you meet someone else? Did you finally get tired of always being the one who tries? She might not admit any of this out loud, but the questions are there. For the first time, she has to think about her behavior instead of just your effort. She has to think about what she brought or didn't bring to the connection. She starts to see that your attention wasn't actually guaranteed. This is the beginning of the power shift. You're no longer the guy trying to keep her. You're the guy she might have already lost. Fear of loss is a strong feeling. Men feel it. Women feel it too. But for women, losing a man who clearly values himself hits different. Most men she deals with give their attention fast. They message constantly. They beg for another chance. They put up with disrespect just to stay close. She gets used to that pattern. But a man who pulls back when she doesn't reciprocate. A man who stops chasing and actually focuses on his life. A man who shows through his behavior that he does not need her approval to feel confident. That stands out. She knows deep down a man like that is rare. When that realization hits, her reactions can go in different directions. Some women go silent. They act like they don't care. They talk to other people, post as usual, maybe look even more distant. But that silence often isn't peace. It's a test. She wants to see if he'll break and chase again. If you run back the moment she pulls away, she knows she still controls the situation. She knows your change was fake. Other women take a softer route. They start sending casual messages after a while. They ask how you've been. They mention something you used to talk about. They bring up a memory from a date or a moment you had. It looks light and friendly on the surface, but underneath, they're trying to see where you stand. Are you still available? Are you still waiting in the background? or are you actually moving on? Some women go indirect. They post more. They try to look extra attractive. They show they're out, busy, living their best life. Sometimes they even hint at other men giving them attention. This is fishing. They want a reaction. They want to see if you get jealous if you watch their stories, if you respond when they look more active. And then there's the reaction that actually means something effort. Real effort from her looks different. She doesn't just send random messages here and there, she reaches out consistently. She suggests meeting. She checks how you're doing, without you asking. She tries to be more present when you talk. Maybe she compliments you more. Maybe she asks about your day in detail. Maybe she brings up your goals and supports them. You see her trying to rebuild a connection she once took for granted. All of this happens because your attention became limited. It used to be constant. Now it's tied to your standards and your life. It isn't free anymore. When something becomes limited, people think about it differently. They take it more seriously. They respect it more. That's what your absence does when you truly pull back. But here's where most guys mess everything up. She starts putting in effort and they immediately jump back into old habits. They go from calm and focused straight back to needy. They start over-messaging again. They answer instantly. They rearrange their plans to fit her in. And within a short time, the balance is gone again. She feels like she has you locked in. The respect fades. You're back where you started. So the real question is not, how do I make her chase? The real question is, what do I do when the dynamic shifts? The only way this works long-term is if your focus is genuinely on yourself. Pulling back is not about punishing her. It is not about making her suffer or playing with her emotions. It's about finally respecting your own. That means the energy that used to go into chasing her has to go somewhere better. You move it into your body, your mind, and your life. You actually go to the gym consistently, not as a one-time burst. You clean up your routine. You sleep better, eat better, and look better. You put time into your work or business. You start projects you kept delaying. You learn new skills that raise your value in the real world. You invest in hobbies that matter to you. You see your friends more. You build a life that feels full, even when no woman is involved in it. This makes two things happen at the same time. First, you feel better about yourself without needing her to fuel your confidence. Second, the way you carry yourself changes in a way women notice without you trying to show off. Women are drawn to men who have direction, not men who say they have big plans and then waste days waiting on a reply. Men who actually live with purpose. If your whole life rotates around a girl, she feels it. You might think it's romantic. In reality, it feels heavy and unattractive to her. She doesn't want to be your entire purpose. She wants to join a man who already has a purpose and a path. She wants to feel like she's part of something that already exists, not the only thing keeping you standing. When you stop chasing, you give her space to see who you really are, not the version of you who begs for attention. The version who wakes up, handles his day, moves toward his goals, and lets people decide if they want to be part of that. Now let's talk about composure, because without it, everything else falls apart. Staying composed is about how you handle yourself when emotions run high. Most men lose it here. A small change in her tone, a late reply, a weird social media post, and they spiral. They blow up her phone. They confront her with long emotional walls of text. They ask what they did wrong. They argue. They try to force reassurance out of her. Or they go to the opposite extreme. They act cold and angry, hoping she chases harder. But inside, they're still reacting to every move she makes. Women notice both types. What really earns respect is calm stability. You notice something off, but you don't explode. You don't beg. You don't attack. You also don't pretend nothing bothers you while secretly losing control. You stay grounded. In real life, that looks like this. She pulls back a bit. Her messages are shorter. She seems distant. You don't panic. You don't chase harder. You keep talking normally, but you match her energy. If she's putting in less effort, you also invest less. Not to punish her, but to stay in balance with reality. You don't jump into deep talks about what are we every time you feel slightly insecure. You watch her actions over time instead of reacting to every small fluctuation. If she acts emotional, throws attitude, or brings up other men just to see how you react, you don't join the chaos. You keep your tone calm. You keep your boundaries clear. You don't play along with jealousy games. You show that your mood is not controlled by her behavior. That's composure. Women test men, often without fully thinking about it. They push certain buttons to see what kind of man they are dealing with. They want to know if you are stable, or if you break the moment they create tension. If every test makes you plead, over-explode, or explode, you lose ground. You show that you're not steady. You show that your emotions run you. But if you stay calm, even when she is emotional, she feels something very different. She feels safe with you. She sees that you do not fall apart just because she's upset or distant for a moment. That doesn't mean you accept disrespect. It means you handle it without losing self-control. If a situation crosses your line, you don't yell. You don't insult. You don't write long speeches. You simply step back, and if needed, walk away completely. That behavior says more about your strength than any speech ever could. Composure also shows up in how you talk. You don't try to convince her of your value with long explanations. You don't argue for hours to prove you're right. You say what you need to say in a clear, simple way, and then let your actions do the rest. You stop oversharing feelings just to get reassurance. You stop chasing closure in every argument. You stop trying to control how she sees you. Your goal isn't to win every little interaction. Your goal is to live according to your standards and let people either respect that or leave. Now what happens when she actually starts chasing again? This is where your growth is tested. She messages more. She wants to see you. She gives you compliments. She acts sweeter than before. She might even admit, in her own way, that she didn't appreciate you enough. Most men see that and instantly relax. They think everything is fixed now. They go right back to overinvesting. They treat her new effort like proof that everything will be perfect from now on. But effort in the moment doesn't always mean a real change in character. Sometimes she's just reacting to the fear of losing someone who gave her constant attention. The question you need to ask is simple. Is this temporary, or is she actually showing up differently now? This is where you stop acting purely on emotion and start using logic. You ask yourself honest questions. Does this woman support your goals or distract you from them? Does she respect your time and boundaries? Does she listen when you bring up an issue, or does she flip it on you every time? Does she bring peace more often than chaos? Do you feel more focused around her or more drained? You look at patterns, not moments. Consistent behavior, not one good week. Just because she is chasing right now doesn't mean she's right for you. Attention from her is not a prize by itself. The real prize is a healthy dynamic with the right person. If you decide she is worth another chance, you don't throw out everything you learned. You keep your standards. You keep your routine. You keep your life as your main focus. You don't cancel important things to fit into her schedule all the time. You don't start messaging nonstop again. You don't give up your boundaries just because she is being more affectionate. You let the new dynamic build on mutual effort. If she starts slipping back into disrespect or laziness, you notice it and respond. You talk about it calmly, and if nothing changes, you are ready to step away. You don't stay just because she came back once. You stay because she is actually aligning with your values and actions. If you realize she isn't right for you, you let her go. You don't send hateful messages. You don't attack her. You don't try to hurt her. You also don't stay halfway, keeping her around just for occasional attention. You step out with clarity. You understand that walking away is not weakness. It's a real sign of self-respect. You're telling yourself your future matters more than temporary comfort. You can care about someone and still choose not to be with them if the dynamic damages your growth. That's maturity. All of this connects to one core skill: focused detachment. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring about women or relationships. It doesn't mean you become numb or fake alpha. It means your sense of worth does not depend on one person's attention. Focused detachment is when you build your life around your mission, your values, and your growth, and you allow people to be part of that without letting them control it. You are able to enjoy time with her, feel emotions, be present, and still know that you'll be okay if she leaves. You don't cling. You don't beg someone to stay when they clearly don't respect you. You don't keep chasing the same person who keeps showing you they are not all in. Practically, it looks like this. You keep your routine even when you start seeing someone you really like. You keep training, working, learning, and spending time on your goals. You don't drop everything the second she calls. You stay aware of your own standards. You know what kind of behavior you accept and what you don't. You know what kind of relationship you want and what you refuse to tolerate. If her actions go against that consistently, you're willing to walk away, even if you still feel something for her. You can feel the emotion and still choose the decision that protects your long-term life. That's focused detachment. This mindset doesn't just help with women. It changes how you handle everything. You stop staying in jobs that go nowhere just because you're scared to look for better. You stop keeping friends who drag you down just because you've known them for years. You stop clinging to habits that destroy your health and confidence. You start looking at everything through one lens. Does this move me closer to the man I want to be, or further away from him? If it pulls you away, you gradually remove it. If it aligns with your growth, you give it more of your time. Your life starts to feel lighter, cleaner, more focused. You stop feeling like a passenger and start acting like the driver. As this happens, something important shifts inside you. You no longer need constant approval. You don't feel the urge to prove yourself all the time. You don't base your self-esteem on whether one woman is texting you back fast enough. You build respect for yourself through your actions. You see your own progress at the gym. You see your skills improving. You notice how your money habits, discipline, and mindset get sharper. Women feel this change, even when you don't talk about it. You walk differently. You speak more clearly. You speak more clearly. You're less reactive. You're more present. You're not chasing anyone. You're moving forward, and they can either join or not. The right women respond strongly to this energy. They feel attracted, but in a deeper way. They see a man who has expectations for himself, not just for others. They see a man who can care, but still walk away from what doesn't match his standards. The wrong women will usually get frustrated by this. They don't like that they can't control you with silence, attitude, or tests. They might call you cold, emotionally unavailable, or too focused on yourself. That's fine. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to build a life and identity you actually respect. So here's the hard truth you have to face. If you keep chasing, if you keep begging for validation, if you keep making one girl the center of your entire world, nothing will change. You'll keep repeating the same cycle. You'll keep getting attached too fast. You'll keep ignoring red flags because you're scared to be alone. You'll keep giving more than you get and then wondering why you feel empty. The shift starts the moment you decide to do the opposite. You stop chasing anyone who doesn't meet you halfway. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't respect you. You stop giving endless chances to someone who never really shows up. You invest that energy into yourself instead. You build discipline. You build confidence. You build a life that feels good with or without her. When you stop chasing, you don't just change her behavior. You change yourself. You go from being reactive to being intentional. You go from being controlled by your feelings to understanding them and still choosing your actions. You go from living for her approval to living in a way that naturally attracts the right people. And that's the real point here. This isn't about getting her back as some trophy. It's about becoming a man who never again feels the need to beg for attention in the first place. You set the standard. You choose who gets access to you. You walk away from what doesn't match where you're going. Once you start living like that, you'll look back at the version of you who used to chase, and you won't even recognize him.